Pep Talk UK. It's time!
Oi, oi. Welcome to the Pep Talk UK Sports Podcast, the podcast that talks major football and boxing news from around the globe. Real points of view from a real panel. Hashtag real talk on Pep Talk. I'm your host Frankie B, and I'm joined by a special panel today. Firstly, from Paris, we have Pascal. How are ya?
Pascal, mauvais langue. Frankie B, ça va?
Yeah, I'm all good. Whatever ça va means, I'm all good.
Good. Ça va means, how are you doing?
Yeah, more importantly, how was your debut on Arsenal Fan TV over the weekend?
Frankie B, I had a very, very good time. It was very fantastic. You know, first time to come to England to meet my French and my English friends. It was absolutely amazing. And Robbie from Arsenal TV, lovely gentleman. You know, he's like a big teddy bear in real life. And I used to watch him a lot on YouTube, and he gave me a superb interview. I had a very good time, and the result was super.
Okay, well, making her first appearance, I'd like to introduce a lady that has her own YouTube channel, PippaTube. Can we welcome Pippa? How are ya?
I'm alright, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, all good in the hood. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and shout out your social media?
Well, I'm a football blogger, mainly Arsenal, and I blog a lot on YouTube. As Frankie B said, my YouTube is PippaTube, and I'm pretty much on all social media. Instagram is Pippagram, Twitter is PippaTweets, and Snapchat, Pippa Snaps. Everything's Pippa, basically.
Wow, that sounds pip-tastic, I must say. Finally, I would also like to invite another lady to the panel who we previously interviewed before on the show. Former multi-world kickboxing champion and now aspiring boxer, Angela Hepden. How are ya?
I'm good. How you doing?
All good as they say. Can you just briefly tell us a bit about you and shout out your social media?
Yeah, sure. Like you said, former world champion, multi-world champion in kickboxing. I teach kickboxing, and now I'm training and hopefully making my pro debut in the first quarter of next year. I'm on Instagram, justange_boxing, Twitter at Angela Hepden, Snapchat at Angela Hepden. So yeah, that's me.
Okay, so basically you're saying big things are going. Is that what you're saying?
Big things are going in, bro.
Alrighty then. Excellent. Now it's time for some real talk on Pep Talk. Now the major news last night was the sacking of Sam Allardyce for giving advice on how to get around FA rules on player third-party ownership and negotiating a bung of $400,000 to undercover reporters from the Daily Telegraph. Now I'm Ghanaian, and when I heard this story I was like, what the Ross? Pippa, what is your immediate reaction to last night's news?
I mean, as someone in a professional stature as that, I think, you know, in the history of news, you know, there's always been like the fake shake and these undercover reporters. You need to be careful who you talk to.
Mm-hmm.
It's only been in the job, like, in my opinion, like 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why he's giving advice. He's not an advisor. He needs to be concentrating on his team and his duties. And it's a shame, really, that he's being caught out. And because I think it's a thing that most managers do, to be honest, in my opinion. But it's just a shame he's been caught out.
Yeah, definitely. He's been quite a naughty boy, allegedly. Pascal, what are the French saying about this shock news?
Oh, you know, Frankie B in Paris, you know, it's a very, very funny situation. You know, we've likened it for, you know, similar to going to Thailand and you see a woman and you think she's a woman, but she's a man. It's a very much the same situation, you know. Sam Allardyce, very greedy man, you know, he gets paid really well, £3 million a year. You know, and £400,000 to go down like this, Frankie, you know, it's completely ridiculous. You know, what more does he need? You know, he's getting paid good money, £400,000. I mean, it's ridiculous. But, you know, it's a big shame. You know, we like Big Sam. You know, Sam has been very good to French players. You know, if you remember when he was the coach of Bolton, he had Yuri Djorkaeff, who's a very good,
top baller.
Very, very good French player. So I give him a bit of respect, from that point of view. But it's a very, very, very shameful resignation from Sam Allardyce.
So how do you also feel, Pascal, about his comments about your boy, Prince Harry? He called him a bad boy.
No, Prince Harry is my friend. I would love to go out with him and have a good time. I know he's a naughty boy and he likes to flirt with women like me. So I don't have nothing bad to say against Prince Harry. He's a good friend of mine. I admire him very much. I think he's French. Interesting. Well, we're going to move on to the exciting stuff, which is a roundup of the Premiership last weekend, where the biggest game was at the Emirates and Arsenal tonked Chelsea 3-0. Pippa!
Come on.
I'm over to you on this one. You're an Arsenal fanatic, so let's go.
Listen, that game was one of the most entertaining games I've watched in a while. It was it's not easy to be an Arsenal fan and sit down and actually relax and watch the game. So to witness that on Saturday, and I was just so calm about it, and when the goals went in, I was celebrating like a mad woman. It's nice to see him. We've continued it again tonight in Champions League, and I just hope that Arsenal can continue this. I don't want to get too excited too early because we have these moments where Arsenal play beautiful football and then it all goes downhill like after Christmas. But I'm just happy to see certain players are really, really excelling at the moment, like Theo Walcott, Hector Bellerin, Mustafi, all of them. And it's just a joy to watch, really.
I kind of agree with that. I don't want to get too excited too early. A bit like when a guy gets a number from a girl and nothing happens afterwards. So, let's be patient. Let's wait till April and be patient.
Exactly.
Yeah. Pascal, what does it mean for you for Arsenal to be up there? Do you think they can maintain this good form and rally right to the end?
Frankie B, as I said to Robbie last week, I'm an optimist, and my optimism tells me that if Arsenal carry on playing like this, there's an opportunity for the league title to come to North London, and possibly, I say, a European trophy, 20 years of management for Arsene Wenger could potentially be the year that he wins something extraordinaire. So let's hope that, he carries on. For once, I'm very comfortable with the team. The balance of the team is super. We've got a very, very good central defense. I said last week, Laurent Koscielny, the wall of France, le mur de la France, Mustafi, the wall of Germany. I don't mean that in a bad way. And also, we've got some very, very fantastic player in Sanchez, who's becoming a revelation. Alex Iwobi. I think, the British public must be pissed off that he plays for Nigeria, because he could play very well for England. But hey, let's keep supporting the team, and I hope very much that Arsenal keep going from strength to strength.
Definitely. I'm sure all Arsenal supporters will agree with that. What about Man United? Because Man United beat Leicester 4-1. Man United. Look at Angela. She's getting happy now. Now, Man United, all right, there's a massive discussion point. The discussion point is Rooney's days up? Now, Man United won 4-1, and some might say, well, you see, we dropped Rooney, so it's a standard 4-1 victory. Angela, do you think Rooney's time's up, and how would you compare him to old greats like Giggs, Beckham and Cantona?
Do you know what? You can't compare him to the greats, and that's probably the problem. He's had a hell of a lot to live up to, and it just feels like when the pressure's on him, he just can't perform. He tends to choke, and I'm not taking anything away from Wayne Rooney. He's a fantastic player. He's just not consistently fantastic. So I don't know what it is with him, but he has real peaks and troughs. He's just never ever consistent. I would probably say after the last World Cup, I would say Rooney's days are up, but that's his choice to make. So you just can't compare him to the likes of Cantona and Beckham and Giggs and and Schmeichel. The old school Man United team, that was the team to beat.
Yeah, it certainly was. I was a very envious Arsenal supporter back in the day. You guys gave me so much stress. Anyway.
Pleasure.
So, Pippa, in terms of Man United dropping Rooney, do you think Pogba playing in a more advanced position means that they found the answer to the balance in their team?
I wouldn't say so quite yet, because Pogba's played 4 or 5 games, and we're not going to talk about goals, but he's only had about 3 great performances, so it's unfair to just throw him in the mix and say, yeah, that's it, now we found the formula, because it's too early to say that. And in terms of dropping Wayne Rooney, as Angela said, he's had a lot to live up to. There's too many. We've put a big, pressure on him to follow in the footsteps of players that were there before him. Yeah. And it's not fair to drop him I know they spend a lot of money on new players as Pogba and Ibrahimovic, but I still feel that it's too early to say Pogba can take that role in a central attacking. I don't know, man. But I guess his days are up, to be fair.
For me, it was perfectly apparent during the last European Championships. Rooney just it was like he's very pedestrian.
He just chokes. It's like he wasn't even on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Love with the game.
Yeah, but it is when you start your career quite early, like he did. He started at 16.
Yeah, he's been playing a long time.
Yeah, and it starts to take its toll.
Especially when you're in a big team with a lot of pressure, it's a lot to take on.
And the training is, rigorous. The things these guys have to go through, it's hard work. And then there's the social side of it, the media, the stuff that's been dragged through the media. That's eventually, it's all got to take its toll on you. And it just makes you wonder if he's just more in love with the money rather than the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, either he goes abroad or he's got to work.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, Manchester City, now these lot, they're just getting on my nerves. Like, they're looking imperious.
They really are.
100% record.
Crazy.
Yeah, they're going on different.
Crazy.
Now, Pascal, can anybody stop these monsters, Manchester City?
Bien sûr, Frankie B. If you recall, si tu te rappelles, remember the pre-season game when Arsene Wenger, humbled Pep Guardiola and showed him that, look, you come into my territory, and this is what we're going to do to you in England. If there's only team that can beat Manchester City, Frankie B, can only be Arsenal. Arsenal is the only team in England that has the style, the passion, to beat Manchester City. We know that Pep Guardiola is a very, very good manager. I like Pep Guardiola because he's the only man that can humble Mourinho, not with words, but with the way he plays his football. But I do also believe that Pep Guardiola respects Arsene Wenger very much, and he likes the players that Arsene Wenger buys and has in part of his team. I'm very much aware that Pep Guardiola is a very big fan of Hector Bellerin, also a very big fan of Sanchez, and I'm concerned. I'm concerned for Arsenal because Manchester City have got the money to buy both players. So there's a big concern. But, trust me, when Arsenal play Manchester City, Pep Guardiola will be very, very concerned about that particular game, and he will accord us more respect than he did for Mourinho. But they would not go unbeaten. It's impossible. This evening they drew 3-3 against Celtic in the Champions League. Very close. Celtic are not the best team in Europe, as you know, and it was a very close game. I expect Manchester City to drop some points, but as of now, Frankie B, I have to agree with you. They are playing exceptionally well, very, very well.
Yeah, I mean, a part of me doesn't want to get overly gassed by Manchester City's early season form because Guardiola's quite demanding with his players. I mean, they play a high pressing game, and that's constantly for 90 minutes. Now, English football is very, very, very physically demanding. And we play a lot of games over Christmas into the new year. So I just would be very interested to see whether they can maintain this pressing game. And I also think as well, teams are still trying to figure out what Guardiola is about. Am I wrong, Pippa?
No, you're not wrong. I feel like Guardiola's still trying to figure out what he's about in the Premier League himself. Because as you said, this high pressing thing cannot last for too long. But he's very dominant, and I feel like he would try to make it last as long as possible. But we've seen... I'm going to keep going back to Arsenal. They've been playing high pressure as well in all of their games recently, and I think it's with their fitness and their training that's something that they can upkeep into the new year. But they are a big threat, and I'm scared of them. I even said to myself as an Arsenal fan that, I would put my money on them to win the league this season. And it hurts me to say that. But Guardiola is a top manager, and it's painful. It's painful to watch them because they are dominating in all types of play.
I'm telling you, and that's without Company playing as well.
Oh yeah, jeez.
Yeah, the old man, he's crocked again. So Manchester City are looking for other alternatives that are working. I mean, I think Kolarov played at centre back the other day, and he was distributing the ball sweetly from left to right from the centre back position. And what Guardiola did was instruct him to initiate attacks from the back, which he did. And even on Match of the Day, they were raving about that idea. So for me, Guardiola, like I said in previous podcasts, is a coach of the future.
Yeah.
West Ham. Now, what is going on? Like, really, they want to be big. They want to be big boys. Yeah, they want to compete with the elite. They want to move to a big stadium. We've got this fan base. We've got this. We've got that. No disrespect to West Ham fans, but at the moment, it just isn't going their way. Pippa, what do you think? Do you think the move to the Olympic Stadium is going to be a hindrance overall, or do you think eventually they'll come good?
First of all, we don't call them West Ham no more. We call them Wet Ham. No, in all honesty, why? I don't know how a big stadium can. Is it the fear factor? Why? I don't understand what's changed their play. Is it a lack of confidence? I don't know. In your question, I don't understand how the move has. I mean, but to be fair, they're not like the greatest team in the Premier League. They just had a fantastic season last season where they could have finished top 4. But they're just playing as West Ham normally play. They're a mid-league table team, and we're obviously expecting so much for them now because they're in the London Stadium. You'd think you'd get Champions League quality because they're in like a Champions League stadium, but it is West Ham at the end of the day, and we don't expect too much from them.
Pascal, your thoughts on your thoughts on West Ham?
Frankie B, people very, very scathing, very scathing like a cat, and I'm very, very, West Ham, last season, they were a revelation. I was very concerned for the rest of the London teams because West Ham played like very much title contenders in some instances, and Slaven Bilic, organized his team very well. And Dimitri Payet was an absolute revelation for West Ham and for France also, if you remember. But I think that the new stadium has a bit of an influence, because if you remember, Upton Park is a fortress, Upton Park has got a lot of character and a lot of, victories has been carried out during that particular pitch. And, sometimes, Frankie B, when you lose the soul of an area and you move on to a different stadium, it can affect you. If you remember, as you're an Arsenal fan, when Arsenal were playing Highbury, it was absolutely dangerous for every single team to come to Highbury. Yeah. We destroy teams. It was a red Ferrari. He was absolutely dangerous for most teams.
Vavavoom, weren't we? Vavavoom.
We were very much Vavavoom with a V6 power. The moment we moved to the new stadium, the Emirates Stadium, it was like an alien place to us. He wasn't quite familiar, and it took us some time to get used to the stadium. And I think that West Ham are having the same difficulty. They're having to acclimatize to this new stadium, and it's going to take them some time. My concern is Slaven Bilic may not necessarily stay. I think he's a good manager, a good young manager, but the problem is, West Ham have invested a lot of money, a lot of resources, and they're expecting them to compete again like they did last season. And I can see him going, I can see him going, and peut-être I can see some Allardyce coming back. Would that be a story?
Yeah, they won't accept him because Allardyce doesn't play the West Ham way. If you look at the creative players within West Ham's team, Lanzini, Payet, Antonio, they've got some top ballers. And Big Sam likes to play in a more pragmatic fashion, whereby he just lump the ball up to Andy Carroll and then hope for the best. If you remember when Big Sam was appointed, we were talking about his effect and would he change anything? Would he be a dramatic improvement? I said no in French because I've seen nothing from Sam Allardyce, no disrespect once again, to suggest that he's the coach that can take England forward. So in terms of West Ham and their style of play, I just think the two just won't marry.
But Frankie B, have you read the papers? In L'Equipe in Paris this morning, they're saying that Arsene Wenger could potentially be approached by the FA to coach the team. I know that Gareth Southgate has been requested to coach the next 5 games, but for a long-term replacement, they're hoping that Arsene Wenger will not sign a contract with Arsenal and peut-être consider the long-term appointment as an England coach. I mean, what would English people think about that?
I think Wenger's had his best days. Look, Arsenal on a good run, but if you recall, towards the end of last season, there was a lot of unrest amongst the fans. And I think with Arsenal and Arsene Wenger, when it hits the pressure games, they have a problem. You've got to remember, England already are in a pressure situation when they enter a tournament. Like, the whole expectation, right, of a nation is on all the players. You can see it, and I just don't think Arsene Wenger's got those motivational skills. Pippa, would you agree as an Arsenal fan?
Yeah, definitely.
I agree. I definitely agree. I think he's caused a lot of controversy as well within his career, and I don't think he's got the motivational tools to take England to the next level whatsoever.
He might have to shop abroad, you know. I know this, people say, yeah, but Ericsson, blah, 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 he didn't work. But look, for me, England need to just learn from a foreign coach that might introduce some new ideas and that, you know, might bring something different to the table, because English players need to improve upon their technique. The players look uncomfortable in the ball. There's a lack of individual brilliance amongst the players. And I think a foreign coach might be able to inspire that.
Well, Frankie B, if you ask my own opinion, you know, it's a bit controversial because, you know, in England, following Brexit, following all these talks of, you know, wanting to become more of an independent, you know, country to some extent. Also, I'm hearing that people in, you know, the British political scene are also calling for a cull on, you know, foreign players. You know, to now have a national coach for foreign extraction are the British public and English public now realizing that, you know, that it is important to have foreign, you know, influences in the games to become more competitive, you know, because there's not enough talent within England to find the right coach. I mean, Gareth Southgate, I mean, come on, Gareth Southgate.
Bring back Alex Ferguson, like. Oh yeah,
Ferguson, Angela.
Back, come on, bring him back.
Alex Ferguson will never coach the English. He's Braveheart. He's William Wallace reincarnated. He will never do it. He can never, because he's Scottish.
Oh yeah, do it.
Mate,
because he's a...
But Pascal, listen to this, yeah. I never thought George Graham would manage Spurs, and he did for the peas.
Do you know what? I wouldn't say he would never do it. I actually don't think he would never do it. I think if the timing was right and the team was right and the money was right and he was left to run it the way he wants to run it, because that's the kind of person he is, I actually don't think, I wouldn't say he would never do it at all. I think it's probably one of the, you know, the best kind of promotions that you can have as a manager. And let's face it, when Man United were in their glory days, he's the one that took them there. So
I agree with you, Angela. I agree completely. But I also know that Alex Ferguson, like his whiskey, is very patriotic to Scotland, and he would rather try a stint with Scotland first before coaching the English team. I mean, you know, you got to remember that there's still a bit of tension between, you know, Scotland and England. You know, just recently, there was a referendum for the Scottish people to leave, but they decided to stay just about. You know, so I don't know whether Ferguson would want to take that.
Business is business, and he's lived in the UK for however long, managing an English team. So I don't know.
Frankie, maybe we should ask him. Bring him on the podcast.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Bring back Fergie. Come on.
Alex Ferguson, please come on. I've emailed you haven't responded. Please, I'm begging you.
There's no one else that can do it. Come on, Fergie. Let's go.
Yeah, but you know, Alex Ferguson's on a wee break at the moment, so we'll let him enjoy his retirement for now. On to the Champions League, the most exciting competition, better than the national games to me.
Yeah.
The British clubs are in action. Firstly, Celtic drew 3-3 with Man City. Over to you, Pippa. Celtic are looking quite ravishing.
Oh, I was not expecting that, you know. I was expecting Man City to go there and roll them over. I'm still yet to watch the highlights of that game, but all I know it was end to end, back and forth, and I know Sterling got an own goal, which was quite unfortunate, but at least he redeemed himself afterwards. But Celtic, they've really come to play this competition. 3 goals against City.
3
and
goals,
you was just cheering Collar on a minute ago.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, you know, sometimes you get gassed over one game, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Pascal, do you think Celtic can like stage a revival and get through the group stages?
Frankie B, I think is impossible. You know, if you remember, Barcelona inflicted a humiliating defeat on them last week. They drew at home against Manchester City, which means that Brendan Rodgers has to travel to the new camp, has to travel to the Etihad Stadium. There is no way that he's going to get a point there. I think Celtic have truly over as far as the Champions League is concerned. I will see them in the UEFA Cup with Manchester United. You know, where the lesser team go and play football. You know, that's where the Celtic belong with Manchester United and the rest of the European teams who failed to make the grade to the Champions League. You know, but in saying that, I think it's a very good result for Celtic to draw 3-3 against Pep's Manchester City, because, you know, it could have gone either way. It was a very entertaining game. You know, it was a 50-50 game, but I think it was a very good result, you know, for Celtic, and it was a bad result for Manchester City.
Yeah, but listen to this, Pascal. You know, Celtic were ahead 3 times in that game, and guess what happened? Guardiola gave them a pep talk. Okay?
Fantastic. I always enjoy your jokes, Frankie B.
Yeah, they're a bit dry, like cream crackers, but anyway.
Like cream crackers.
That's it, you know, some dry feet. But Leicester look to be thriving in the Champions League. I just think teams don't know what Leicester are gonna, you know, how they're gonna play, how they're gonna set up. And Leicester are playing very, very well in the Champions League. What do you think Leicester can achieve, Pippa, in the Champions League?
I think they can definitely get through to the last 16, but I wouldn't... Well, it's so hard with Leicester. I feel like they've got some next mystic spell on them that's just going to take them to the end like they did in the Premier League. I don't know what's going on there. But I think realistically they'll get to the last 16 and they'll go out with pride.
Yeah. I think Leicester, I think they're just enjoying themselves, which is the main thing.
That's the most important thing in football. The more you enjoy yourself, the better you play.
Yeah, exactly. What about Spurs, Pascal? Spurs won 1-0 in Moscow, and Son scored yet again. You know, Spurs, like, they've hardly got any weaknesses in their team. They're pretty solid. How do you think Spurs can go forward in the Champions League? Where do you think they can end up?
You know, Frankie B, Spurs will probably play better away than they will play at home. You know, the Wembley Stadium is a very difficult stadium for anybody to perform in. If you remember, when Arsenal went through their own transition, you know, we would play at Wembley Stadium. It was horrible. We couldn't win any game. And I think that, you know, the trouble that Spurs will have is that Wembley Stadium is a neutral stadium, you know. You could come from anywhere in Europe, play in Wembley and feel at home, because he hasn't got the spirit, he hasn't got that je ne sais quoi, you know. So it becomes a very much a stadium for everybody. And if you remember the first game against Monaco beat them quite well. And I expect Spurs to win very well abroad, but not to do so well at home. But I think for the sake of I guess Spurs and the investment they've had in a team, it'll be good for them to go to the second round, you know, to the knockout stages. But I suspect that Leicester will probably go further than Spurs, because Leicester are just, you know, nobody knows how Leicester are going to play. There's not much Premier League or Champions League footage of Leicester in the Champions League, because they've never been there before. So they're pretty much an unexpected teams with nothing to lose, you know. And Frankie B, this is what I think is going to be happening. Leicester could potentially be facing a relegation fight in domestic game in England, but it could be in the last 4 of the Champions League, and they'll go to the semi-finals. This is my prediction.
That could be that one, you know, slightly.
When the games come thick and fast, you know, then we'll be able to see where Leicester are going to end up. And I've just seen in the Premiership they haven't been performing, and I think that's due to the build-up of games. So. Let the story run, and let's see how Leicester perform come May. But anyway, to the Arsenal. Now, Pippa, your team has won 2-0. You're sitting pretty on top of the group.
Yes, sir.
Without being biased now, okay? All right. Where do you think Arsenal can end up overall in this competition?
Now, this is where it gets frustrating, because I know I should be super excited that we just won. But the way we've been playing, we should be dominating games just like how Barcelona dominate games and be winning 6-0 and 7-0 because all the chances are there. Mm-hmm. So it's so hard. Because they don't reach that full potential in their games, it's so hard for me to say, yeah, we can definitely get to the semis or go all the way, because I can never tell. Because even though it was a great performance today, we didn't hit the full potential, you know. So it's hard to say how far they will get, but I would love to think if we carry on playing like this, we can get to the semi-finals or the finals. And that's being genuinely honest.
Wow. Semi-finals or finals? Come
on, look how we're playing. It's a big threat. I mean, like I said, if they continue to play like that and they, you know, get on the end of their chances, and we haven't even played any of our strikers. We're playing Alexis Sanchez as a centre forward. Our strikers haven't played a full 90 minutes game, and we're playing Alexis Sanchez, and we're still able to pull performances out of the bag like that.
Yeah, well, you know what? In a cup competition, anything can happen. You know, Monaco have reached the final before. Porto won it before, so outsiders do stand a chance. Atletico, very strong team.
We're outsiders, yeah.
I think Arsenal are outsiders because can't really look past Barcelona and Real Madrid. Atletico Madrid are so strong. Yeah. I know if they played Arsenal, they would frustrate Arsenal. Yeah, and Griezmann, that boy Griezmann, yeah, I co-sign Griezmann as a top player. I don't think Arsenal will be able to handle him. But football is football, anything can happen. So on that note, we're going to move on to the boxing. Now to the boxing. Jorge Linares defeated Anthony Crolla last weekend in a lightweight unification title contest, champion versus champion. Angela, did you get to see how Crolla performed?
Do you know what I did? And you can't take anything away from him. You know, Crolla's had some recent, he's had some big fights recently, and he's always stuck to the game plan, tucked up tight, boxed tight. I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. I definitely think there's more to come. I was actually really, really impressed with his performance against Linares because I just think that, he tried to, do you know what, the mistake he made, he tried to stalk him down in the ring too early, and he had him on the ropes but didn't know what to do with him. He didn't know what to do with him, and he was just walking off the ropes. It's like he was pressuring him onto the ropes and then had nothing to back that up with. And he kind of tired himself out, and you could see that in round 6, round 7, it was like, he was absolutely exhausted, but he did bounce back, and round 9 and 10 were fantastic rounds for him, but it's too late. But you got to give it to him. He fought like a warrior, he really did.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Anthony Crolla for me, I love his story. Yeah, this guy rose to prominence after a few defeats. He kept trying, he kept working hard. He reached his goal and won a world title. Yeah, he's just a product of hard work and determination. I love that story.
Yeah.
So hopefully Anthony Crolla comes back stronger and repeats the magic again.
I think he will. I definitely will. I think that we definitely haven't seen the best of him yet. There's definitely more to come.
Definitely. Big up Anthony Crolla. Pascal, what do you think of the fight between Linares and Crolla?
Well, Frankie B, I was of the opinion that Crolla would have had to perform at his very, very best to beat Linares. Linares has a very, very good amateur pedigree. Linares is also a very peculiar person because, having left Venezuela at the age of 17 to live in Japan, he's acclimatized to loneliness. He's very good at training away from the comfort zone. And he's also very good at traveling abroad and fighting abroad. If you remember the fight against Kevin Mitchell, he did very well in English soil. So he was very comfortable, and that was the danger. I was counting on the Telecrona to rely on the crowd, to rely on the home advantage to propel him to the victory. But Linares boxed a superb fight, very slick. He used the jab very, very well, very athletic, very well-shaped man, and he threw some very good combination. Towards the end of the round, Linares was tiring, and I didn't think that his shots were having much of an effect on Crolla, but he rocked Crolla throughout the fight. And to me, Linares showed his class, he showed that he was slightly a step above Crawler, and Crawler is almost there. He's almost there. I think he's probably 2 or 3 fights, into that elite fighter, department. But Linares, to me, still has very much, of quality in him. And I think that Crawler, as much as I like Crawler, will also struggle in the rematch. If I was Crawler, I would probably look to go for the WBO world title, build his confidence. And perhaps, look at a unification fight, at the end of next year, to regain the WBA and the WBC belt against Linares. And I think that'll be a fantastic fight. But there is another Brit that has a WBO lightweight belt, and that domestic fight will be very good for Crawler, because I believe that Crawler can actually win another world titleship. Under a different belt division.
Well, surprise, surprise. Once again, Tyson Fury's fight with Vladimir Klitschko has again been cancelled due to him being medically unfit. Angela, will Tyson Fury fight again?
Do you know what? It's one of those, isn't it? It's that grey area. It's medically unfit, but there's been a lot of talk that suggests he's mentally incapable of getting in the ring. And when it comes to mental health, there's a lot of people that are slating him right now, not showing much compassion, not much empathy. Because obviously Tyson Fury, let's face it, he's not the most compassionate and empathetic person out there. So people are now, obviously, saying a lot about him. But a lot of the statements that have been released have suggested that, it's mental health. And you know what? You have to be completely healthy mentally and physically to get in a ring. You can't step into a ring if you've got mental health issues and you're struggling with your mind. You can't. Your mind has to be clear. So they absolutely made the right call. If that is the case, they've absolutely made the right call. Yeah. But Tyson Fury is such a strong character. He will bounce back. There's absolutely no doubt about it. You can't be Tyson Fury, say the things you say, do the things you do, and not step back into the ring. He will be back. He will be back. But, there's a lot of people out there that think, he's bottled it again, No, I don't think he's bottled it. You know what? If it is down to mental health issues, it's absolutely the right call.
May Tyson Fury get better soon. We'd like to see him back in the ring. He's a great heavyweight. Now, a domestic fight is on horizon. That is Dillian Whyte, body snatcher, versus Ian Layermouth Lewison in Glasgow on October the 7th. Pascal, the Battle of Brixton, Fridge Bar versus Mass. What's going to happen? How's it going to go down?
Frankie B, I'm not sure. Because Lewison, looks very, very big, very strong. He reminds me of, he has the face of Mr. T, He's very, very big face. Very, very big chest. And, I was reviewing some of his fights, on YouTube. And the man can punch, he's a very, very strong man. Very, very strong man. And if he catches Dillian Whyte, I think it could be a good night again, The problem with boxing, Frankie, is once you've been knocked out, your brain remembers that you've been in this place before, and it doesn't want to carry on. And if Lewison can catch him, I think Dillian Whyte could well hit the canvas. But Dillian Whyte also has got very, very good boxing skills. He's proven that, he's given Anthony Joshua some trouble. Joshua didn't have it his own way. And Dillian Whyte has some quality in him. And I expect a very, very heated fight. But because of the venom between the two men, I reckon he will probably go to five rounds. No more than 5 rounds, in my opinion. Wow. But in favor of Ian Lewison.
Wow, that's a big call.
Very big call. But Lewison has a lot to prove, and he's a very strong man. And at the heavyweight division, he only takes one punch.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the Battle of Brixton, Shaz Chowdhury attended a heated press conference between Dillian Whyte and Ian Lewison. 2 heavyweights fighting in Glasgow on October the 7th for the British heavyweight title. The pair had to be separated by security. Shaz managed to interview both Dillian Whyte and Ian Lewison and also had a chat with promoter Eddie Hearn. He also interviewed Tommy Dove of Dove Box Promotions and the Knowledge himself, Mr. Spencer Fearon, who is arguably the best authority on how this fight will go down. Let's hear what they had to say about the Battle of Brixton.
I'm with the man himself, Mr. Lay 'em Out, Ian Lewison, who is a friend of Pep Talk UK, has been on the podcast before. Ian, you got a big fight coming up with Dillian the Body Snatcher Whyte. How are you feeling about the fight?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good all the way through. Throughout everything, I don't see him as much of a problem. He's a threat because he's in there with me, but in all aspects of everything, I don't really see it as much.
Last time me and you had a chat, I saw you put in a beast of a training session. Now that was several weeks ago. You were in camp for another fight. How's training been? How are you feeling? You ready?
Training's been good, 100%. I've been doing exactly what I needed to do, and I've done everything that's been asked of me, and I'm feeling ready to go. I'm feeling good, ready to go for this.
You were in beast mode that day, pushing plates, doing loads of weight. It made me break a sweat. How's sparring been? Who you been sparring? What you been doing?
Well, sparring's been going good. I've been sparring with a few different people, but I ain't going to mention no names in prep before this, but sparring's been going well.
You win this, you're the king of South London. You get all the bragging rights. Surely that must have added pressure.
Nah, there's no added pressure than any fight before this one. A fight is a fight. You go into it with the intention of fighting and coming out the winner and coming out the victor. So just because of the fact that there's two of us from South London, I don't think it adds any more pressure to it, because if we were in the ABAs, we both would be from South in the early stages, so it's just the same thing.
All of us at Pep Talk UK wish you the best of luck come fight night all the way in Glasgow. We'll be backing you and hope you have a great one.
Thank you for that. Yeah, and I'm thanking everyone that is backing me, and I hope everyone tunes in for it, because it's going to be a good fight.
You're a friend of the show, so we'll always make time for you, Ian.
That's good, thank you.
Go lay him out.
That's what I intend to do. Thank you very much.
I'm with a man like Spencer Fearon, who is dressed impeccably sharp. And do you know what? I need to know who his tailor is as question number one.
My tailor, actually, my it's not my tailor, but my buyer is actually my wife. My wife will pick out all my clothes for me to, I'll wear this now, babes. And so if I don't look on point, anytime you see and I don't look on point, then you have to blame Mrs. Fearon for that. Okay?
You always look on point,
I try my best.
Now, you're a friend of Pep Talk UK.
No, Pep Talk's going on really, really good, man. Seriously, I love what you guys are doing.
We're at the press conference for Dillian Whyte and Ian Lewison, and whilst everyone else is here, Mr. Totodo knows the backdrop to these two guys, is from that neck of the woods. What's your take on this fight? How's it come about? Where's it going? And what's going to happen?
I think it's a really, really good fight, and this is not where Ian Lewison is to the position of where Dillian Whyte is in position to where Ian Lewison is. There's a gulf. But what we've seen when there are gulfs in certain things, I remember this fight, because it's two South London guys, but this is two Brixtonians here, right? It reminds me a lot of Danny Williams when he fought Keith Long in 2002 at Bethnal Green, and that was for Danny's British title. This is very similar to that, because the two guys know each other, they've sparred with each other, and the fear factor which other fighters may go in against Dillian Whyte, because Dillian is actually, you saw in his last fight against Dave Allen, Dillian was opting to try and box. He's trying new things because he's now with Mark Tibbs, who's a very good trainer, right? Now that he's trying things in that fight. But you're dealing with someone, when they both know each other, the gulf in what we think is there isn't going to be there. And this is a very, very tricky fight for Dillian Whyte. I'm not saying this is not a foregone conclusion. This is a dangerous fight if Ian can hold up with the fitness, because in the past Ian has been a little bit lackluster or not that motivated, and because he hasn't been that motivated, he hasn't put in performances that he's meant to. But if he's up for this fight, this is going to be one hell of a fight. I'm a bit gutted that it's in Scotland, but I understand why, because if Dillian brings his crowd, and remember, these are street men, let's be correct about this. If he brings his crowd and then Ian Lewison brings his crowd, then it could get a little bit rowdy. Could, because they're young and stuff like that. I'm old now, so I could calm these guys down, but I'm saying so it's a very good fight, man. Trust me, a really good fight.
Now, we talked about Ian's fitness. I saw him training 6 weeks ago with a new guy called Noel Cullen, who's also looking after Rakeem Noble, Dominic Akinlade. Ian's actually taken this seriously. Before the fight was even announced, he's been putting in the strength and conditioning, working on his fitness, and on the basis of what you've said, if he comes out looking good, fit, we're going to have an explosive fight on our hands. We're going to have an excellent fight because fundamentally the better boxer of the two is actually Ian Lewison, right? But seriously, because anyone would have to agree and say that he's a better boxer. Here's a man that boxed for England. Here's a man that was what was it, ABAs? He won the London ABAs. He was really, really good as an amateur. Do you understand? So there's things that you learn, and he's been around the whole world as an amateur. And also when he was momentarily meant to turn professional, and we're talking a little bit while back now, because he's getting a little bit old now. A little while back, when he was going to turn professional, he was out in the Mayweather gyms regular and things like that. He's picked up so much. Now he's got to bring all of that in compass to fight night. If he can do that, then it's going to be a hell of a fight. Because I'm saying stylistically and technically, he's the actual better boxer of the two. But where it comes down to grit and heart, then we'd have to favour Dillian Whyte, because Dillian Whyte has got a pig-headedness to him, a toughness to him, and now he's learning a trade. So this is going to be such a good fight. Two alpha males in a ring in Glasgow. How are you calling it? Is it a lay-em-out day, or is it going to be body-snatching day? Realistically, I would say that I would slightly favour Dillian Whyte, but this is professional boxing. Anything can happen, but I'll slightly favour Dillian Whyte. On points, I would favour Dillian Whyte. I don't think Dillian Whyte could actually knock out Ian Lewison, but it depends if Ian Lewison doesn't gas out. But I would kind of favour Dillian, but this is boxing. Don't be surprised if Ian Lewison doesn't stop him. Spencer, the knowledge, Fearon, thank you very much, brother. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Seriously, thank you. Big up, Pep Talk. I listen to you guys all the time on YouTube, man. So it's like, people don't understand. For me to be where I'm at right now, I've had to study loads and loads of boxing, and I'm never that ignorant to think that I don't have to listen to anyone else. I listen to new guys who just come in and open up. I listen to old guys. I listen to everything that's got to do with my sport. Keep on doing your stuff, all right? Last word, man like Spencer. Thank you. All right, big up. Pep Talk UK are honoured to be joined by a boxing promoter, up and coming, Tommy Dove of Dove Box Promotions. How you doing, Tommy? Not bad, Shaz, mate. Yourself? I'm always well. Now, Ian Lewison, you know him well. He's fought under you. Dillian Whyte, you know him well. You know that neck of the woods. You know Miguel's gym. You know all of South London. How do you see this fight going? Well, that's the beauty of the fight. I don't think anyone sees how it's going to go. Obviously, Dillian's a strong favourite, and most people probably put their money on Dillian. But I mean, Ian's in the best shape I've seen him for a long time, and he's taking this fight serious. And a serious Ian Lewison's a dangerous Ian Lewison, and I think that's going to be the intrigue of the fight. And I think also the only sour point of it is that it's not in London, because that would have been lovely. But all things going well, I think all the fans that watch it will go up there in for an absolute treat. Now, you've got your own promotion coming up on the 15th of October, is it? Right, yeah. You've got some good fighters fighting there. We at Pep Talk UK will be following that, and we'll come and say hello and interview the fighters at a press conference, which is coming soon. Thank you very much, Shaz. It'd be great to have you down there. Big up to all the listeners at Pep Talk, and Shaz Chowdhury, thank you very much, sir. Top man, Tommy. Thank you. Nice one. Pep Talk UK are joined by the man that's brought all this together, Mr. Matchroom, Eddie Hearn. Eddie, how you doing? I'm good. Nice to see several hundred people from South London here today from this big grudge match. I'm looking forward to the press conference. Now, Eddie, let's be honest. Me and you are looking at all these people. We're in a corner in this room, and that's where we're staying for a little while. Yeah, I'm thinking more. I've only ordered 6 security today, so I'm hoping we'll be all right. But I just said to Ian Lewison and Dillian, they know the script. Competitive, funny, little bit of needle, and behave yourself. So we'll see what happens. We're doing this interview before the press conference, so we'll see what happens. How did you get these two together to fight? How did you call it on? Well, I think Dillian Whyte, the good thing about Dillian Whyte is he'll fight anyone. So, and that's how the Dave Allen fight happened, really. I said, look, people want to see you in fights where there's someone with a little bit of needle, or, especially domestic heavyweight fights. So Ian's been under the radar for a little while. He had a great win out in China to give himself a world ranking.
and he become then someone that we could fight for the world heavyweight title, British heavyweight title. Once the board accepted Ian Lewison against Dillian Whyte, it was a natural fight to make. The fact that they're both from Brixton is even better, and there is that little bit of needle, but it's a really, really good fight. And I think the British heavyweight title has long been a title that, I remember one of my first fights was Jess Harding against Gary Mason at the Brentwood Centre for the British heavyweight title, and I was 13 or 14, and that was a big title, and I think both guys are really up for winning that British heavyweight title, and that's why I think it's a great fight.
It's happening in Glasgow. Yeah. Was that a stroke of genius because you knew what may happen, or was it just the nearest card that you could put it on?
It was the nearest card that we were working on, but also it probably is for the best as well. I mean, there is going to be a lot of testosterone flying around from groups of fans and friends and stuff like that. It's more taking the crowd to one side. It's more about the TV as well. It's about putting a good fight on that card, and it just happened to fall that it was in Glasgow. Could have been in Birmingham, could have been in Liverpool, could have been Manchester, could have been London. From a commercial sense, London would probably make more sense. But
I did a session with Ian 6 weeks ago with his new coach, Noel Cullen, who does his strength and conditioning. And I know people sometimes worry about his fitness, but the guy, even back then, was looking good. So I'm expecting a good fight. It's going to be a cracker. And all I have to say is, Mr. Eddie Hearn, thank you very much for laying this fight on. No, we'll see if it's going to be a lay 'em out or it's going to be a body snatcher that does it at the end.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
Pep Talk UK are joined by the body snatcher, Dillian Whyte. How you doing, Dil?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm always well, brother. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Of course I'm ready, man. I'm ready. I got 10 or 11 days left, but yeah, I'm good, man.
I was lucky enough to see you fighting Dave Allen. I was there.
Yeah.
I've seen you sparring Dave Allen. How's sparring been? How's training been?
You see me sparring Dave Allen? Or did you see that? No. Yeah. Training's been good. Just, like I said, he was having a bit of a bad time, after fighting me. So I thought to myself, listen, I'm a decent person, if I can help someone, I will. So I reached out and asked if he wanted to come down to London and get a couple of days away from Doncaster and do some work, keep yourself relevant and get some good sparring in, And he came down and looked after him, took him out to eat, and he gave good work. He gave really good work. He actually sparred better than the fight.
That would have been fantastic. You could have sold tickets for the sparring session.
Yeah, it was good, me when I sparred, I don't... I try to work on things as spar, do different things, but no, turned up and he showed up and he give good work, and he's somebody I will be using in the future, he's a good guy,
Now, you're Mr. Social Media, you come out with great stuff on Insta, great stuff on Twitter, there's been needle to this fight. How's this going to go come fight night?
He is going to get knocked out. It's going to be a good fight. He's going to come, he's going to swing, it's going to be a good fight. Listen, we're both from the same area, same neighbourhood, just come out swinging. We know each other, we're from the same gym, So he's going to put his pride on the line. This is like a real title fight for him, so I'm expecting a good fight. I'm training hard, but, at the end of the day, I think it's my time. He's 35 now. At one stage, he was the man from Brixton at one stage, but he clearly didn't take his career serious, and it goes to show, He goes to show, so... he's probably underestimating me thinking, I'm that guy that he saw first coming in the gym, but no, he's going to get his ass whooped.
There's bragging rights to this. It's going to be the King of South London at the end of it. Dillian Whyte is ready to be crowned the King of South London.
Listen, I'm already the King of South London. But it's not about South London. I want to be the King of Britain. That's my aim. The King of the world. That's my aim. Not just King of South London. South London is a small place. South London is my area. It's in my heart and all that. But I want to be the King of the world title.
For the monster you are in the ring, you're a gentleman outside. We love you at Pep Talk UK. Good luck with your career. We'll be following you every step of the way.
Thank you very much, sir. God bless.
Okay, that's it for this week's edition of the Pep Talk UK podcast. I'd like to big up Pippa, Pascal and Angela for their time. Join us again next week for another Pep Talk UK podcast. Pep Talk UK. Please follow us on social media. On Twitter, it's at PepTalk_UK, and Instagram, it's PepTalk_UK.